Hey Dermaticians. So the gardening season is over, but I'm feeling itchy to grow something. So I thought I'd try growing mushrooms. I did a deep dive on the easiest way to start this process as I've never grown them, and I found out that mushroom kits are the way to go. So in the next few weeks, we're going to try experimenting with growing a few of these different mushrooms. In this video, I'm going to share all of the research about the different kits out there and the different types of mushrooms that are easy to grow from home so that you can decide if you want to start this in your growing journey. By the end of this video, you should have all the information you need to be able to order your own mushroom grow kit and get that supplies and get going on the journey. We've also created affiliate links that you can click to order the ones that we have if that's of interest to you. So when I was searching online about how to store mushrooms indoors, I kept finding these blogs and these YouTube videos with really complicated language where it sounded almost like you were setting up a whole farm and you needed fruiting chambers and these sterilized lab kits. And it all felt a little too much for me starting for the very first time growing mushrooms. However, what I kept coming back to as a really easy way that has everything you need in it is a mushroom grow kit. Okay, so I thought a mushroom grow kit was just all of the pieces you needed to start a little mini mushroom farm. However, I was wrong. It's actually a very specific kit that we're gonna open right now that is done in a very specific way, which I'll get into more detail after we've opened it. Let's get into it. So in this kit, firstly, we have an instruction manual, very important, about how to do this whole process. And then the next big important piece is the mushrooms and the substrate itself. So a substrate is just essentially the growing media, and if you don't know what that is, it's like the mushroom soil. So it could be a block of wood chips or a block of compost. It depends on the mushroom. They'll provide different things. So this block piece is what the mushrooms are growing off of. Now, all of the white that you're seeing on here are mycelia, which are like the roots of a mushroom, and they've really taken over this whole thing. So buying a kit like this has meant we've sped up the process of growing mushrooms by like 6 to 8 months, as it usually takes a really long time for these mycelia to spread over. Usually you would start with 2 spores and then it would take 8 months, but we've bought a fast-tracked version of that. And because we bought a fast-tracked version of growing mushrooms, it also means that these will be ready in like 4 weeks as opposed to 8 months. And then in terms of how we set this up and the maintenance, all we have to do is cut this bag open. You cut an X across here. We scrape some of the mycelium to help activate it and then soak it with water to really get it going. We put it back on the box and then we just leave it on a counter that's not in direct sunlight and spray it twice a day. And that's it in terms of care for these kits. So when I found out how easy and how cheap it was to start this, I was beyond excited. Like, I have a mushroom farm. I can just continuously have mushrooms now every 3 to 4 weeks. But I was wrong. These kits only flush, which is where we'll have mushrooms come out 2 times, maybe 3 times if you're lucky. I'm not even sure if that makes up for the cost of buying this kit versus just buying mushrooms in a grocery store. So it's really more about learning the process and kind of getting attuned to what it is to grow mushrooms. It's not a long-term farm, garden, indoor thing that you'll have. So I was determined to find a way to have a proper mushroom garden, you know, something that I could continually tend to and have different fleshes of mushroom and watch them grow and harvest and come back and harvest. So I kept researching, but the process just felt really overwhelming. All of a sudden I needed totes and I needed wood chips and syringes, and often these weren't kits, they were separate things you had to buy in a DIY fashion. And on top of that, if I didn't sterilize things correctly, I could end up with absolutely no mushrooms whatsoever after waiting almost 8 months. So it felt really discouraging. But then I found kind of step 2 into growing mushrooms, although it is an outdoor process, but it's quite simple. So this is where we get plugs, which is basically a piece of wood, a tiny piece of wood inoculated with mycelium. Here I've got shiitake, and we'll do a later video on me actually doing this. And then you just need a log, which you drill holes into, and then you put those plugs. It does still take 8 months, but you have the guaranteed inoculation here, and I can keep harvesting from that for years and years. So I was really excited by the idea of having a proper mushroom garden. So I'm gonna get a log from a local arborist, as I've heard that oak is the best, and it's actually quite easy to do this if you call up an arborist company and get one for free. It needs to be about 3 feet long. And the reason it's gonna take 8 months is because these little plugs are then going to inoculate the whole log itself. So once I get the log and I drill the holes, I'll just leave it outside, and after 8 months, hopefully I'll have some shiitake mushrooms. You can also buy a log grow kit similar to these, but like these, we'll only get 2 to 3 harvests from it. Now that I've gone over the different types of kits we have here, I want to talk about what the easiest mushrooms are to grow indoors. So like our vegetables, different mushrooms have different growing requirements. They have different temperature needs, light, moisture, etc. However, the mushroom community is definitely in agreement that for indoors, oyster mushrooms are by far the easiest to grow and the most likely to be successful. So when I was perusing the internet for the best oyster mushroom kit to buy, Back to the Roots always came up with 5-star ratings compared to all of the other ones. So that's the one I got. Another mushroom that's really easy to grow would be cremini or button mushrooms. However, like oyster, these are pretty easy to get in grocery stores. So I wanted to find something that would be hard to find in a grocery store that would be pretty unique. And that's how I landed on lion's mane. So lion's mane is supposed to be super healthy for you and is meant to help with concentration. It apparently tastes like lobster. I guess we'll find out. I actually have a lion's mane supplement to be able to help with my concentration, and that costs like $50. So I'm pretty excited to try growing these. The one caveat I will say when I was looking online is I could not find a single kit that had more than 3.5-star rating online. And when I went into the comments and reviews, it was either 5-star, it worked fabulously, or 1-star because nothing happened. So we'll see. By the way, we're going to do a whole video exclusively on growing lion's mane. So make sure to check that out in the next few weeks on the Dirt Magicians channel. All right, now let's just do a quick recap on the easiest way to grow mushrooms. So by far, the easiest way is to get ourselves a mushroom kit. However, remember, these kits will only give us 1 to 3 harvests. The next easiest way to grow mushrooms would be to buy plugs, get a log and drill holes into the log and put those plugs in. Okay, so now that we know that mushroom kits are the easiest way to get growing mushrooms, I just want to review all of the easiest mushrooms to start indoors. I've already mentioned most of them. So we've got oyster, the absolute easiest. Then we have shiitake, cremini and button mushrooms, lion's mane, and pio pino. If you learned something valuable, inoculate that subscribe button and like our video, as it helps up-and-coming content creators like us, and you'll get to stay up to date on our other mushroom videos that are going to be coming out soon.